Good afternoon, everybody. It is time for the final of the Pan American Snooker Championship here at Corner Bank in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We've got Amar Sadiq against Ahmad Ali. And we're ready to go. There are just a few announcements being made in the room. Ajaya Pradhakar, who is the head of PAPSA, the head of the USSA, is just acknowledging everyone and giving thanks. And we'll be setting up and getting the action very soon, so we're glad that you're tuning in. It's David Burney in the booth, and David Putty will be joining me soon. But feel free to chime in on the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. If you have any comments, questions, throw in your support for either Ahmad or Amar. It's a Canadian-American battle here. Who is going to achieve their dreams? We'll find out soon enough, as this is the final best of 9. Whoever gets 5 frames to the good will be going on the professional tour over in England. So just the photographers are doing their final work here, and we apologize a little bit for a wee bit of a delay. We didn't start right at 1 p.m. Obviously, probably if we were in Germany, we'd be right on that 1 p.m. dial. But just had to make sure we got all our kinks worked out so we can deliver you some world-class snooker action here. Larry LaSalle as well is the man in charge at the table. He's been doing a great job all weekend long, and Kevin Patrick will be keeping score, as well as he's been a fantastic tournament director. So, Diogo, Carl, and Newt, good to hear you tuning in. Feel free to share the stream with all your friends and relatives, your wives, your lovers, your mothers, your brothers, your sisters, and your fathers. And now, we're getting very close to getting the action started, and the man that can get out of any 3-cushion escape, David Putty's in the booth. Hello, David.
Well, hello there. We are ready to get this going. It's going to be an exciting match. The prize for this is basically a dream for both of these players, where they'll get a 2-year card to go and play on the World Snooker Tour. And 2-year card is nowadays kind of the dream of almost any snooker player playing at a high level. And the opportunities have been few and far between along the way, but this is one that is happening for real for these players. Ahmed has been here once before and lost in the final, I believe, a year ago. And this is Amar's first shot and opportunity at doing this. So they are off.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see how this plays out, because Ahmad has definitely a lot of experience. You know, he's won the U.S. National Championship twice, played at the Crucible actually last year by winning the seniors event last year. Vito Puwapo will be headed over there from Canada this year because he won the seniors event, and we are underway. David, you being from the Toronto area, you probably know a bit more about Amar than I do, as I hail from Vancouver.
Amar is one of the stronger players. He plays in a lot of the Ontario qualifiers for the Ontario Championship and Canadian Championships and all of that. So he's a player whose game has been becoming stronger and stronger as the years go by. And we'll see a few nerves from him, maybe a few more than Ahmed, but both players are aware of the prize at the end of the road here. So the big thing will be getting the first game. Winning the first frame for each player will be critical.
Definitely handling the emotions too. As you said, there's a lot at stake. Your dreams are just a short distance away, but you can't get ahead of yourself.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours away from achieving what you've been hoping for. And as they've moved through this tournament, of course, and won their matches, won their round robins and things like that to get through to the knockout last 16, the knockout last 8, and to get to the final, their blood pressure, their expectations start coming up as well. So this will be an interesting first frame. Sometimes they're a bit scrappy. Sometimes the player comes out and knocks every ball in and looks comfortable. And first real good opportunity goes to Ahmed.
Just waving to a few supporters in the room. Good to see you. We have a lot of great fans out here at the Corner Bank in Toronto. If you're in the neighborhood, feel free to stop by. We will probably be here for a while as it's a best of 9 frames.
Ahmed is certainly the first one in with an opportunity that was left with a shot that Amar missed. The ball's ended up in a very easy starting position for him. So he may get his cue arm loosened up first.
Just didn't want that cannon into the yellow if gone up.
This will be a good test to see where his thinking is. If he goes for this ball along the rail, he's thinking aggressively. If he plays safe on this ball, which is what he's done, he's thinking the long game. This actually is a tough safety. The natural line to hit the edge of the pack as we look at it on the right-hand side here, has that cue ball going directly into the loose red to the right of the black. So Amar is playing the conservative safety of coming into the side of the pack. And he's judged that perfectly. Quite often this game is judged not by what you make, but what you leave your opponent. And this is the bit of the cat and mouse that happens at the beginning of every match, kind of like a chess game where the pawns are moved out in particular order. This is all the very controlled beginning of a match that determines who gets the first really big opportunity.
Yes, a high level of respect for both players that they have for each other. They know they're in their finals, so they both know that each player can play this game. So you might see a little tense and defensive battles to start things off, as you alluded to, David. But getting that first frame definitely makes a statement.
There's a good example of it. Ahmed has a chance to pot this red to the left of the pink. Took a good long look at it and went, nope, not taking that chance this early. Again, an interesting opportunity here for Amar. If he plays this red into the corner, his cue ball is going into the bottom part of that pack, so he needs to be very confident if he's going to play that, or he has to find a way through the pack to get back down to the D.
Yeah, just noting he's very nice. He's breathing a little bit more, taking time for breaths. It seemed like he was just a robotic player yesterday in his semifinals, but being his first final, there's got to be definitely a lot of pressure there, so just taking it nice and easy, kind of almost meditating himself with those breaths. And actually, Amar just recently had twins. So congratulations, Amar, to you and your family. A couple of youngsters.
David and I had the opportunity of commentating on Amar's match yesterday, and he was talking to me after, and as I happen to be a professional coach, he was jokingly saying to me, he said, well, so did you find lots of things to tear my game apart and figure things I was doing wrong? And actually my comment to him was exactly the opposite. There's a thing in playing cue sports where you want to have something called a pre-shot routine. And Amar is practically the poster child for having a very effective pre-shot routine. The way he approaches the shot, the number of feathers, the stroking of the ball, the way he sees it is all very, very similar almost every shot. And where things break down a little bit is under pressure, the player will shoot a little faster, or the player will have some body movement because they're uncertain on the shot. And what I see in how Amar plays is that he minimizes those moments by having a really solid pre-shot routine. So we joked about that one for a minute because I said I couldn't tear you apart because you were like the poster child. So
yeah, as you've alluded to, the adrenaline's got to be pumping pretty high right now in this first frame.
this is an intriguing shot because this cue ball pretty much has to go into the pack. So you have to make this black. And he may have got away with it. There's no immediate. There might be one in the side based on Ahmed's body language. That may not be the case.
Yeah, those two reds in the left cluster of reds there. One on the left side, I think that one red close to the left middle pocket blocks that pot, and so it's going to need to be a good save here.
Amar got away with one there in the miss. Nicely done. That shot was played at a very nice speed, where he got to the bottom half of the table at the side of the blue ball. So as he pots this blue, he has easy control for bringing the cue ball up to the reds and picking the red he wants to play next.
Yeah, all these tables have been playing quite beautifully. Usually it's never a player's fault. I always blame the cue, the table, the balls, the TVs that are on, but I haven't really heard many complaints about the players from the tables. Everyone's saying it's playing really nice, so that's good to see. I know Jim and John do a great pride to keep the conditions top-notch. And they're two guys that aren't really complacent. They're always battling to just keep striving for perfection, which is great to see in a room owner, just building and shaping and making it work for all the customers.
This is certainly one of the prime rooms in the country in terms of number of tables and how they're kept, and the food is wonderful here, the staff is great, but they run a lot of tournaments, from Ontario qualifiers for the Ontario Championships to the Canadian Championships and all the qualifiers for that. They have pool tournaments, pool leagues. It's one of the busiest ones in the city as well. There are a couple of others that do a wonderful job. But Corner Bank he's one of the top ones. Ahmed is getting his arm going here a little bit in good positions. His entry shot here was a very nice shot along the top rail, and he's making the most of it now. And what you see him doing here when he's in his mind positioning exactly where he wants the cue ball to be for his next shot. In this place, this shot, he can actually play what's called kind of general position shot, where he had a choice of either of these reds in the side, So if he had hit it a little harder, he would have been playing the one to the left middle pocket. As it is, he's hit it a speed that's perfect for the right middle pocket. Slightly distracted by something off the side of the table there. What you will also hear is Larry LaSalle calling the running total of the break that Ahmed is on. At this point, it's a 21-point run. So as he puts the pink ball back on the spot, he will announce the running total, which is 27 at this point in time. This shot will test Ahmed's intention here. This is a shot that the top players do take on. There's a risk and reward. And that one is very nicely done again.
Yeah, a lot of players that definitely doesn't shy away from showing his emotions. He knows what's on the line. And we do have a little surprise coming up for everybody in our next frame, as this is only the first frame of this 2022 Pan American Snooker Championships. It's a cool Ontario day, so perfect time to watch some great snooker action.
Everything here has been nicely controlled by Ahmed so far. Series of stuns and draws and top. Hasn't been complicated as yet.
Yeah, you notice with these great players, they kind of like to cut that table in half. They just want to use a 6x6 table pretty much, not flaring in and out of bulk. You know, obviously those big long shots look nice and pretty, but the percentage of making them all the time is very low. So.
Here there's a red ball right by his left elbow. So players are very careful not to have anything touch any ball on the table, whether it's a shirt or the hairs on their arm. If any contact like that happens, it's an automatic foul in the end of their turn at the table. So you may have noticed he was extremely careful with his cueing, with his bridge arm, to not actually touch anything with it.
Looks like now he's going to dispatch that red. Hopefully. Don't want to put the commentator's curse on him. But,
don't do that.
But he's cueing very nicely to start off here.
The players are certainly allowed to do a little bit of table maintenance, which is what you saw Ahmed doing there. There was a bit of fluff or something on the table, and they don't want any bad contacts generated by that.
Tell just at the end. Huh?
He looked uncertain on that shot. He wasn't quite as settled.
But a nice 51 break, leading 57-9 in this first frame. There's a gap for that red that's out in the middle on the right side of the table.
not quite settled yet. At this point, there are 67 points left on the table. So there's lots of room here for Amar to get back in, unless Ahmed makes this ball, which is likely. Yep. So 59.
So we're getting closer to the snooker's required stage in this first frame.
This red actually represents the frame ball, because at this point now there are only 51 points left on the table for Amar to get, which will only bring him to 60 points. So at this point he would need one snooker. If this black goes in, he's likely to concede based on the points when he gets to the table. But the other thing that players will do is they will, as he hasn't quite settled down yet, he may come to the table and try and make some balls, just to get used to the table, get used to the situation. That's if Ahmed misses and gives him an opportunity to get back to the table.
And if there's a red on or something like that that he feels he can take. So. Great shot there. You just can see that he doesn't move anything except for that back arm just on a hinge, swinging back and forth. So you need to be steady like a statue when you're on the shot.
So there's no head movement, there's no shoulder movement. That's a nice shot. Very well done. So his intention here is to get it to a point where Amar doesn't have the opportunity to come and warm up on the table. This is a nice little tester.
It's the name of the game. You want to be at the table, keep your opponent in their seats. You can't win the frame if they're sitting down.
Put a little too much sliding on that ball. So with the lead he has, he'll probably hit this with a fair amount of right-hand siding to hold it down at that. Oh, he went the other way. Okay.
Oh! I was going to say, it's nice to see him run out the table in his first frame, but it's going to be a tricky green, that's for sure.
And Amar will
nod of the head, so
stay in his
Amar
chair here.
concedes that first frame. Amar takes the first frame, and we'll be right back with frame 2 action with a special treat. Stand by, everybody. And we're back with Frame 2 action at this 2022 Pan American Snooker Championship in Toronto, Ontario at the Corner Bank. And I have a special guest, a man, I think I have the poster of his throat on my wall, a great voice for pool and snooker. It's Mr. Jim White. Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Great face for radio. Thanks, David. Yeah, it's pretty cool. We were just talking off air that it was a bit of a nervy start, that opening frame from Amar, and you just wonder if experience might not be the determining factor in this final. Ahmed Ali, certain edge in that.
Well, I've got a little nervy start right here. I'm sitting beside Jim White, a man that knows every angle on this table and can commentate like a king.
Well, it's an Oakville connection.
That's
so,
true.
So we've got a lot of similarities.
So if you wanted to get into commentary, head to Oakville, take a nice sip from 16 Mile Creek, and you can get the sweet baritone voice.
There you go. That's how it starts.
So how are you feeling that this one's going to gauge up? Obviously, you know these players a bit more than I do. I'm out in Vancouver.
You know what? This is Amar's homeroom. He's pretty comfortable on this table. He's comfortable in this environment. Right now, this is a big frame for him. It's a short race. I don't think they've lengthened it, if I'm not mistaken. Still 4 out of 7?
No, it's a 5 out of 9.
They did lengthen
Yes.
it 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so still a short race, 5 out of 9, but, you know, there'll be a break after 4 frames, so the last thing Amar wants to do is go down 2-0. So this is a big frame for him. And I'll tell you, that's a pretty handy shot that Ahmed Ali has already played, because he's blocked off that whole side of the table for Amar, so there's not an easy escape route here. And he may be forcing him into taking that long, difficult red to the bottom right corner. And Amar, very much a percentage player, but we'll see if he can try and weave a path to get that cue ball back out. Not easy.
So are either of these guys going to come running to you? Will you have a huge amount of advice because you traveled to England a few years ago to play on the Pro Tour?
Well, I'll tell you what's funny. I was sitting back with the Jaya, one of the organizers of this event. Yeah, that was. Oh, he got lucky, or did he?
Wow.
Yeah, he did get lucky. That was always going to be the difficulty, getting that cue ball out. And he caught that red too thick, and I'll tell you what, that's a huge break, because he would have left Ahmed Ali right in the balls again. But I was talking with the Jaya, and Ali, I believe, is about 43 years of age.
Okay.
And that's the age that I quit. So there you go. Take from that what you will.
But I think that the world champion of snooker last year, how old is he? He's about 44, I think.
It's scary, how much better they are, from my era. Younger and better, and still, even at an older age, they still find ways to win. But the game is, I can tell you folks listening, if you want to know whether the game has improved from the 80s when I played to where it is now, a 147 at the Crucible Theater when I played, the odds were 28-1. Now the odds of a 147, you lay 6-5.
Wow.
How's that for an indicator?
And I think back then it was 147,000 pounds if you got one, correct?
Yeah. Well, here's a chance for Amar. If he can float this red into that side pocket and just to an acute angle, and these aren't easy because you may have to slow roll this, and you put a little trust into the table. But it's a chance.
Yeah, all these players are looking for is just that one chance to get in, score heavily. How did you find this game, Jim? What brought you into the game of snooker?
It was either that or go to school. I actually, you know what? A block from my high school where I grew up in Calgary, there was a small room called Four Seasons, and we used to take our lunch over there. And I've always been pretty good with games that involved hand-eye coordination. I grew up playing golf and played a lot of table tennis and tennis. So migrating to a snooker table, and I grew up on 5x10 snooker tables, so a little bit smaller than your official size table, but I couldn't get enough. I mean, my dad hauled me out of the pool room a few times, missing school, but the teachers all knew I was either playing snooker or on the golf course. No, Mar hasn't played the best positional shot in the world here. So he hasn't dropped onto an easy red at all. And these are situations where if you're going to try and make a statement and you want to let your opponent know that he's in for a battle, you've got to take advantage of every opportunity. And when I say that, one thing that impresses me a lot about Ahmed Ali is you don't often see him miss an easy ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget Steve Davis telling me that, sat having breakfast in Bangkok. He said, "You don't miss an easy ball, you're going to be a hard man to beat."
So how did you transition from Calgary to going playing in London on the Pro Tour? Did you hear about it, or, obviously we didn't have the internet back then, so communication would be a bit tricky.
Yeah, you know what, I won a national title in '79, and Cliff Thorburn was traveling, coast to coast around the country looking for players that might be willing to take up the mantle and start a professional association here in Canada. And when he approached me, a little bit of an ego thing too. You win a national title and a chance to turn pro and play with guys you only read about.
Mm-hmm.
So that certainly played a factor. I was about to say that Ali had played a very weak shot, but Amar's just let him off the hook yet again. And at some point, Amar's got to try and find his game, the game that got him to this final, because he has been solid. As yet, that form has deserted him. But going over there and playing, and I know I said it just a bit earlier, the players are so much better now than we were. So it's a different game. They make snooker tables look like pool tables. Amar, I don't know whether you've had a chance to let the people at home know that cue that he's using he got from me.
I know, that was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, and I never hit a ball with it. A friend of mine from Montreal had come in and was trying to sell it, and I picked it up, and it's great balance, and never hit a ball with it. And the next day, I let Amar look at it, gone. And that may have been the starter. Well, you have to feel this is an opportunity that Ali has to take advantage of. He's had a number of chances already in the second frame, and
reds are spread out, blue and pink available.
And you know something, if you were on the practice table, David, this might be how you'd throw them out, just to try and get your back arm going.
Mm-hmm. Are you seeing the growth in your room for snooker, or has it always been steady? Because I know you guys have been in business with you and your partner, John White, for the last 9 years, correct?
Yeah, we're coming up on 8 years now.
8 years,
but we've had 8 snooker tables since we opened, and they go pretty steady. We're one of the few rooms that boasts having 8 tables. Master Q up in Markham, another one, but there aren't many around. The size of them. Most people come in and they look for something a little easier to play on. But if you're looking for a challenge, snooker provides that. I've always said it's really the chess of the billiard games. Yeah, he looks like he's going to punish him this time. He's got a choice of reds to play on here. He can softly draw back and play the red to the bottom left, the one that he's looking at now. And even if that red below the black passes, which is tough to tell from this camera angle, he could follow through and drop onto that. So just personal preference, how he wants to go about it. You stay in the middle of the table, you kind of make your work a little easier.
chat, JM is just wondering what the winner gets. Well, the winner gets to achieve their dream, a boyhood dream of a snooker player, to be on the Pro Tour. So they get a 2-year card over there and battle it out with the heavyweights.
Yeah, you know, it's probably on the bucket list of everyone playing snooker, a chance to go over and compete with some of the names, like I said, that they only read about. I remember the very first time I played in the Crucible Theatre, and my good buddy and blood brother Kirk Stevens, we went for a little tour of the Crucible before we were scheduled to play that week. The first World Championships I had played in 1980, and hair on the back of your neck stands up when you walk into that venue and you look up and all the pot lights in the ceiling, they look like stars in the sky.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful theater. Great venue. Cheers to Mike Watterson's wife. And I heard Mr. Watterson enjoyed the Canadians.
Yeah, Mike looked after Kirk and Cliff and I'll tell you. I'd be on air for about half an hour talking about all the stories that Mike Watterson did. His wife Carol, she founded the Crucible Theatre, went to a play and discovered it, and a year later it was hosting the World Championships and is the home of the World Snooker Championships to this day. It's got a nice touch. I'll tell you something else unique about Ali is how many snooker players do you see using composite snooker cues?
That's true. Not many.
You know, he'll be a very unique individual indeed if he does get his way over to England.
He made a bit of history in the spring. He's the first American player to ever play in the Crucible Theatre when he played in the Seniors Championship that followed the World Championships. So that's a good sight to see for USA Snooker.
I'll tell you, he's ultra competitive too. In the chats I've had with him, anyone that's beaten him in the events here, I think Vito beat him in the seniors this year. He couldn't wait to get back at Vito Puopolo, who is our current Canadian snooker champion. So he's got that mean streak that every real good snooker player needs. You know, they remember their losses.
Yeah, that's one thing great about this tournament and what I found as well when I was over in England at the World Championships this last spring. Fierce determination, take no prisoners on the table, off the table, great lads. Good to share a laugh with, very personal, very approachable.
Well, here's that red below the black, and apparently it looks like it does pass, so. And opening the black now to both bottom corner pockets, this could well seal Lamar's fate in frame number 2.
Was Kevin Robitaille over in England when you were there?
Kevin actually went with Kirk and I in 1977 as part of an amateur team, and we toured the UK.
Okay.
And that was my first foray over to the area where snooker started, and it was cool. I kind of lost touch with Kevin. I know he's out your way, isn't he?
Yeah,
out in Vancouver. Yeah. But he was a good young player. Kirk and I used to laugh a lot about him. He didn't have the sort of pedigree gambling that Kirk and I did. I could tell you a lot of funny stories about where we backed Kevin, and we thought we were in a game where we were just going to be counting our money, and we came back and had to shell it out. And, he's just off angle on this here, so he's going to have to go away from the reds he'd like to have been playing on. But he's got to be nearing the winning post. He's on the red near the green. And now that red nearest the yellow pocket that's guarded by the brown, all the reds on the rails now are becoming Ahmed Ali's insurance policies, because Lamar would need an unbelievable clearance to try and swipe this frame. And looking where these reds are, I'm not sure I'd back Ronnie O'Sullivan to get out from here. And that's if he gets the chance. No, it's a real pleasure, you know, having both you and David Putty here as well. You know, running everyone through the ropes with the snooker and listening to you guys. I've enjoyed it thoroughly.
Thank you, but I don't have my wallet on me, so can you take an IOU on that nice compliment?
No, it'll be the first of many you guys are going to be getting, trust me. So get ready.
Jeez, I'm blushing like a Red Bull on the table.
No, snooker's not an easy game to commentate on. You know, it's. I always remember, you know, someone telling me, you know, try and tell the people at home what they don't see. Don't tell them what they see. Tell them what they don't see.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. So sometimes we don't even see it as well. The players prove us wrong more often than not. But they do have the best vantage point down there.
Well, and you never always see it when you're on the sidelines looking at a shot. You never see it the way a player might, and you don't know what's going through his head at the time. But I'll tell you what's going through Ahmad Ali's head right now is this is business. And he has got his eye set on that tour card, and I'll tell you the way he's playing, Amar is going to have to find his game. And he's going to have to do it pretty soon because this guy's not going to be slowing down and waiting for him.
55 in it with 59 on the table. So actually just needs this red for his frame ball.
If he can take this game across the Atlantic, I'll tell you what, he's going to open a few eyes over there. He's solid.
And they are aware. I do remember talking to actually Steve Dawson, who's the chairman now of the WPBSA. And they're aware because we're able to watch live snooker over here now with a streaming service called DAZN, the Pro Circuit. And he's heavily aware that Canada and the US are interested in their snooker, but as it is, it's just dollars and cents. Jason Ferguson was always saying as well that, you know, they wanted to get to Turkey, but it took them 3 years. So it does take some time and a little bit of money, and hopefully, you know, soon enough we can get back, because there was a Canadian event for quite a while over here, wasn't there?
There was, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we didn't take advantage of promoting snooker when we really had as many players as we had that were competing on the Pro Tour, and that's where we missed the boat.
Yeah.
Never too late, though. Just get a few of these young players like Amar and a few of them around the Toronto area, and I know there's some good young players out on the West Coast too. Oh, good shot. If he hasn't covered the black, he's got the pink in the side, but I'll tell you, he's a good player, this man.
Yeah, plays out of the New York City Athletic Club. I think he coaches down there, so I think his sole income is from Q Sports. But I think he'd like to be just a player. That'd be his income, but we'll see what happens.
Well, it looks like the black still goes, so he's eyeing up the black.
He's going to have to do some work to get a century. I don't think we've had one so far in this tournament.
And I actually have a beer bet with one of the Canadian guys. He made the line 110. I bet over, so I don't. I'm not favorite anymore, David. I'll tell you that.
I was going to say, if we need a century, we'd just throw you on the table, right?
Well, I'll tell you what. The caliber of players that have been playing in this year's event, it's shocking there haven't been a handful of centuries because there's so many capable players. Yeah, I mean, it would have been better looking at the pink, but that's a good frame from Ali Ahmed. So 2-0, that's the lead, and I'll tell you something. Amar is off to the washroom, and I think that's a real smart move. He's got to go give himself a talking to and refocus. He's got to hit the reset button.
Fantastic. Well, this has been really good fun, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in the booth.
My pleasure.
David Putty's going to come back. We might get our stream producer Rob just a little tweaks on the video, but we'll be right back with frame 3. Thanks again, everybody. And here we are in 3 and 3. We just had to do a little bit of technical work there, just had to adjust our little scoring software, so we appreciate your patience. But now we're back, and David Burney's back with David Putty in the booth. Two Ds?
With 2 Ds. 2 Ds.
There you go. Maybe that's how we'll bill ourselves. I was always going with double Ds, but 2D could work.
That's right. So Amar, it's time for Amar to get his arm relaxed and start playing the way we know he can. He doesn't want to leave this too long. A 3-0 lead would be very difficult to come back against someone who's playing as well as Ahmed is at the moment. So
I think win or lose for Amar here, it's just going to be a great experience. Reminded of a story once that Steve Davis, way back, Ian Doyle, Stephen Hendry's manager, set up a little event in Scotland for Steve Davis to play Stephen Hendry. And Ian Doyle turned to Steve Davis and says, "I want you to thrash him. Just destroy him." And so Steve Davis came out, beat Stephen Hendry 10-1, 10-2, 10-0. And now Stephen Hendry is 7-time world champion, so it seems like you learn a lot from your losses.
Yeah. The losses are not the end of a career or the end of enjoyment of a game or anything like that. It's just a step along the way, and it's how you deal with those losses that will determine how far you go in the future. But by no means is Amar out of this.
No.
Oh, I mean, Amar just needs to get relaxed and very nicely played, and
that one
may
red.
not have got the result. That one red is blocking the corner pocket on him.
It would have been a little awkward queuing, obviously, to get that one red, but now that red, as you alluded to, David takes that out of the equation.
He's bounced a little too far off the top rail.
And with it being Championship Sunday, we do have another little surprise for everybody for next frame. So that's what you get on finals on the Sunday. Little surprises.
And we'll keep it a surprise until it starts.
Oh, of
because
course.
that's the whole thing of a surprise.
Yeah. Santa Claus is real.
So this must not be a touching ball, because it looks like he's trying to find a route to go back down table. It may end up being one where he just has to tap it into the pack a bit more, perhaps, but maybe he's found a way out.
Yeah, I did see our Joe Policeman at the table, Larry LaSalle, doing a great job of refereeing. He didn't announce it. So that is one of his many, many duties at the table, is to look to see if the white ball is touching a ball and does announce it and directs of what ball the white ball is touching.
Well,
Great long red.
and that is back in. The nice thing with the shot that Amar took on that green was the right shot was to play the green, move the cue ball directly into the pack. It's unfortunate for him. He made a great shot, but at the end of the day, the breakout did not produce an easy shot for him to continue. But in terms of his mental state at the moment, he's playing the right shots. So,
Yeah, it's definitely one thing to lose when you're playing bad, and it's another thing to lose when you're playing well and you just come against an opponent that is just playing lights out. Those are the all right losses, because you know you're not losing. A little noise in the background. It is a busy room. Yeah, we're not at the Crucible just yet, so with an active room there are going to be some noises. But they are snooker fans that are making a bit of noise, so Maud can have a bit of control over them.
Ahmed is certainly someone that sees things off of the table as a distraction. A lot of players wouldn't even notice that movement that Ahmed noticed. It was well away from the table, but he sees those distractions as an issue.
And let's deflate the myth right now. You're in a room. If you're a spectator or something like that, you see a player that's at table. If you're walking to the bathroom, just keep walking. Don't stop right by the table. The player could get up if they felt you're walking by is distracting, but it's incredibly distracting if you're doing one motion and a different
stop.
motion.
Yes. And yet every person in the world probably will stop. Ahmed will wait a moment on this one, as there is someone directly in the line of his shot.
It's one of our great helpers here, Terry. She's doing a fantastic job. A waitress that's been here at the corner bank since the beginning.
Since the inception.
Did you read the Taurus last night?
Absolutely.
All right. I'm working on it too. I got a word of the day app, so we're working on our smart people words here.
Ahmed is playing almost pinpoint positioning on his shots. On that particular one, he's left himself two options, which is you're either very specific to one ball or you're playing area shape. And he's hitting every ball nice and light. His cue ball control is, one of the ways they say it is, the cue ball's on a string. He's keeping very tight control of that cue ball on most of his shots. He's very seldom in trouble.
He's playing with purpose. He's playing with passion. Just seeing if this red on the bottom of the reds goes after this black.
I suspect he will try and bring the cue ball to the right side of the table on this. Will involve a little bit of left-hand siding on playing the black. There may be a shot to the sides if he keeps it on the left side, but yep, he's brought it to the right. And now he has, I think, at least the middle red of that group of three. Looks like the middle red is maybe the one he will play here.
Yes, this should open up both those other reds then, and just a little unfortunate.
And as you can see, he's a man that plays with passion. So as that red ball moved into the way of him being able to make the black next, there's a physical reaction of unhappiness. And this is a moment here where if he plays this blue ball in the corner and holds it for the red going into the left top corner, that's a clear statement of how he's going to play. A lot of players here would be playing safe off the green or the brown, but I don't think he's thinking that way. And that's why.
Wow.
If you're playing the balls like that, he's going to be hard to beat today. If he can hold that for 5 frames, if he can do that over 9, he's going to be very difficult to beat. It was a beautiful shot, that one is.
Yeah, great little point there for your newcomers and youngsters. As we alluded to, it's an active room, so Ahmad was a bit disturbed on that last shot, caught up, reset himself and focused and blocked out the noise and fired in a beautiful blue.
It'd be interesting if we had tracked his potting success on this for the day. I don't believe he's missed a lot of balls. There was yes, in the end of the first frame or beginning of the second, it got a little scrappy, but overall, I'd say he's in the 95% potting range right now. He's barely missed.
And I think that will come as we continue to grow and grow. Jaya Pradhakar, who is the head of PAPSA and the USSA, has done great work with Cloud Snooker. That's where you can follow all the results. Obviously, this is the only table that matters in the tournament today. But hopefully, as he builds and expands that program, that stats would be included, and that's going to come with at least having scorekeepers in there as well. So we're always looking for wonderful people to help us out. And as I bill it all the time, I'll say it until the day I die, scorekeeping, you get the best seat in the house. You cannot have an obstructed view because you have a job to do. And hopefully you can focus on the job, not get carried away in the beautiful drama of this game.
And we actually do have an official scorekeeper for this match. Kevin Patrick, the head referee in Canada and the one who trains all the referees, is sitting at a side table over to the right of the table, keeping score as things happen. Ahmed played the black, trying to kiss, call it the second red down the right-hand side of that pack. He made contact, but didn't move it enough to have the simple continuation shot. So he's now doing
kind of wincing at that shot. He thought it was going to go, but a decent break of 44 puts them up by 36. But still plenty of points on the table here for Amar.
He does have a shot at putting this ball in the left pocket here on the end rail. He looks like he's planning on taking it on. There are safeties he could play, but he's not in the mood for that. He's
just not getting there.
He's struggling and he's not getting away with it. When he's missing, he's leaving another easy shot for Ahmed to come in on. So at this point,
kind of felt
if
like
the scorekeeper has the best seat in the house, Amar has the second best, because he's actually doing, for him to conceivably win this, he's sitting in his chair too often, for too long.
Different tales us. His opponent John Brooks yesterday in the semi-final just wasn't getting it going for himself, and we saw it, and all of you on the live stream. John was just struggling and just couldn't get it going, and as you alluded to, getting that first frame on board just gets your center of gravity set. You feel you're in the match.
I like John's comment after his loss. He said, this sport is definitely for the younger people. John is not old by any means, but he is retired, and I would guess him to be somewhere in his 50s perhaps. And Amar, of course, is, I suspect, in his 30s. And John was definitely feeling that there was an age advantage. He said it lightheartedly. He was not unhappy with his results. But it was like, this is a game for younger people.
Yeah, he gave me a kind of a smug look when I was like, well, what about Ronnie O'Sullivan and Mark Williams and John Higgins and Joe Perry?
It's a beautiful shot that Ahmed just played. Very controlled. There's a whole exercise you do when I'm training students, and that is pocket speed. Knowing what speed you need to hit a ball so it just drops in. So he hit that blue ball where it just kind of fell off the cliff, and his cue ball went directly into the pink and reds, and he got a beautiful controlled kiss. And now again he's in a strong position for making this ball. I often think of it as he's looking like he's not in the mood to miss.
Thanks, Mike Collier, for those kind words. And Newt Wales, it's always great to hear you tuning in. Had a good chat with Tommy Collins Jr., who played in the tournament and plays a lot with Newt Wales down there in Motor City, Detroit. Tom, who's the son of the late, great Tom Collins Sr., who actually now the U.S. National Tournament trophy is named after. It's a beauty one donated by Barry Hearn.
I do remember meeting the Tom Collins Sr. at Calgary or Red Deer. I'm trying to remember which one it was, but he was just a wonderful, respectful man, loved the game. He would have been probably, I'm going to guess, in his 70s then.
Could have been, yeah. Could have been
Something
even up
like
in the
that.
80s.
Could have been the 80s. Could have been 80 plus. And he was just a wonderful man to sit and talk with and talk about the game. He loved talking about the game.
True. Yeah, I remember the first time, and the only time I actually got to meet him was back here in 2018 when our good Scottish friend Michaela Tabb came over and did a coaching or a refereeing seminar. So it was good to see Tom Sr. there.
We're at an interesting point in the game here. There are 51 points left on the table, which means that Amar needs to he could take 2 blacks and a pink and run the table, except that he would need 1 snooker along the way. And that red sitting right by the pink ball now becomes the key ball. If this black goes in the corner, which I would suspect it does, the way he's played that, if he takes these 2 blacks and lays a snooker with the pink ball as a snookering ball, then he has the opportunity to run table after if there was a miss, if Ahmed missed. And all the balls will be in very good position for him to be able to do that. So this frame is not out of reach. The next 2 or 3 shots will determine how realistic that is for Amar. He's taking a good amount of time to settle in here. He recognizes the importance of it and has played a beautiful shot. He's giving himself every opportunity here. Ahmed is watching very closely from the other side.
Just hoping for a little chance just to get back in there.
He recognizes what this is obviously smart enough on the pool table and the snooker table to know what this represents. Amar might have liked to have come a little further on this.
True. That's why you got to stay in school, kids. There's some addition that needs to happen here. It's not long division, but
simple math.
Simple math.
There's a comment in the comments section here from Roland. And Roland, Jim's not online right now, but what I've heard about the first round losers in these big tournaments where there's 128 players is that they will be receiving £20,000 per year. I don't know how that will be distributed or whether there's a requirement to play a certain number of tournaments or anything like that, but I understand it will be £20,000 per year that the lower ranked players will receive to help them play through the learning curve. It's a very nice hit by Ahmed. It wasn't a tight snooker, but it was one that had to be played well. We didn't want that kiss on the yellow. May have shot that one a little quickly. Bit of a stretch, bit of a...
I think that was the first thing someone said to me. An old senior player. I was on the table and he just immediately told me, don't stretch.
Don't stretch.
Never stretch.
That's right.
You've got to rest there for a reason. You're not as tall as Robert Walden or whatever that 8'10" giant, tallest man in the world. I wonder if he'd have to use a rest at a snooker table. That would be quite a sight to see.
It would be like playing on a pool table for him on one of these tables.
But if if he did have to lean down, he'd have those big shoes, because the rules in snooker, as long as a toe is hitting the ground, it's a legal shot. Actually,
So it's a nice try by Amar.
have you heard of any players buying like maybe clown shoes just to extend their toe?
No.
No one's bent that rule. Players are always looking for that little advantage.
Ooh, this might be an opportunity. Two ways to play this. What would appear to be the simple way would be to lay the cue ball behind the pink. But there's some dangers with that. He's got him.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, we'll see how this blue ball comes into play, because that's definitely a nice little spot there. If Amar can find a way to get behind in there.
And in this case, just to explain a foul and miss rule, if Ahmed was to miss, there would be no foul and sorry, if he wasn't to hit the red here, there would be no foul and miss because snookers are required. So this would only be a miss, or sorry, a foul. And at that point, Amar would be able to tie if he ran all everything. Unless there's a free ball. And this is definitely in free ball country. Free ball. So when you're in a situation where you need a hook, this is exactly what you want to do. The mistake that Ahmed made there is that he hit the ball too hard. He could have made a very legitimate attempt to hit that ball without hitting it that hard to bring it past the bolt line. So a bit of a lapse perhaps in concentration for Ahmed in not thinking how hard he had to hit that.
Just a little other continuation on that foul and miss that you're alluding to, David. In the amateur game over here, obviously we don't have the budget to have referees on the table all the time, so sometimes it is limited to 3-foot putbacks. But with our good referee LaSalle, it's ultimate putbacks until it's a snooker acquire stage. And actually, it's a judgment call by a non-biased referee. So sometimes he has the power. If you go 4 cushions and miss your object ball by a millimeter, he might not call a foul and a miss, just call a foul.
Newt has given us some information. Robert Wadlow stood 8'11" and wore a size 37 shoe in North American size. Now, do we know if he played snooker or not? That would be the main question.
And to carry on from last night's conversation, I believe that Alain Robidoux was the last Canadian player on the tour, and he hung up his cue in 2004. We're in 2022, so it has been a long time that a Canadian has been over there. So let's see if Amar can do it. But equally, there's never been an American player. So history is going to be made today.
So here's a really interesting thing. Amar is playing this, from what I can see, very well. He made a brown. He had a plan then to either play green or brown after that, after he made that red. And now at this point he's down 30 points. He maybe should be taking the brown. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he had to take the brown here to be able to win.
Very nice.
If he had taken the green, he would have only been able to tie. So he's playing it. He's playing this to win. This would be a kind of an ultimate steal.
Yes.
If that's assuming this yellow goes by the green, and it does.
Definitely get him feeling that he's in the match. He's got that first frame. He can breathe a little easier, but that blue is a little bit tricky over there. So see how this plays out.
So he wants to play, let's call it low on the brown. He wants to do it so that when he makes, so green keep the ball lower on the table, so when he makes the brown, the cue ball floats up towards the blue, and he should be able to lay that cue ball almost right on the rail. So he's done that. With a bit of draw or stun, he brings the cue ball up towards the side rail, past the side pocket there, depending on how close and how he feels he can hit this ball. Ideally, he'd like to be about a foot, maybe 2 feet away from it. And he's hit it pretty well. Maybe about 4 or 5 inches too far. But he'll be happy to have this chance.
Amar's is a world of contrast here. Ahmad is definitely lots of emotion, but I think we might see just a hair of emotion here if Amar can take this one.
This one would sting. This would sting Ahmed a little bit, and give Amar that moment of, I can do this.
Yeah.
This blue might be one of the biggest shots that Amar's ever had to play in terms of importance so far. There. It's okay. It's about 3 or 4 inches further would have been straight into the corner. He now needs to pop this one in the corner. He doesn't have to do much for shape. Just pull the cue ball back a tiny bit.
Make sure you breathe a little bit.
Breathe a lot.
Don't want to get.
Doesn't want to hit this one too hard. And that's why he didn't want to hit it too hard. Okay, let's see.
Well, that's a thin cut to the top left corner pocket for pink. Is there the angle there for the in-off into the middle?
Not so much the middle, maybe the corner.
Yeah.
Maybe the green ball corner. He's playing it. Looks like he's playing safe. That's a smart shot. Kudos to Ahmed on that one. If he makes the bank, he makes it.
Takes the frame, if not.
Black ball on the rail. White ball on the rail right behind the black. He stands a really good chance, even if he hits the horn, to end up safe. So, well thought out, well played. Now, Larry doesn't actually have to be looking too closely at replacing this ball because it would not go back if he were to miss. Slim chance here that he might make it in the side, depending how he hits it. Almost in the corner. That's actually a great hit. He'll be very happy with that.
It's a great round of applause from this great audience here at the corner bank, Toronto, Ontario.
The leave on that is actually about as good as he could get. Pink ball halfway up the rail. And if this doesn't hit the black, it's going to be a possible shot for Amar.
It's left out, but using a lot of real estate there on this table to get this pink into the bottom of the pocket.
Just watching Ahmed as he stands there, sort of waiting to see what happens. No.
Where's that cue ball going?
No.
Very nice.
Okay. What do you do, Amar? A little shake of his head. I don't know if you saw that or not. It was just like a, now what? I'm not sure if it's the right shot, but I have a suspicion he's going to go for it. Oh. It needs,
Got to go. there's a little bit of emotion there. Amar really wanted this frame. He's in his sights. Even our good friend referee NASCAR Bob is just agonizing over that missed shot.
So there's lots of pressure on this. I'd still give it a 95% chance of him making it. He is doing absolutely within his prerogative here, asking the referee to clean the ball. It gives him a moment just to take a few more breaths. And the biggest challenge here when you're playing a shot like this with this much pressure is to keep your backhand relaxed. If you grip the cue too tight here, you can miss just about anything.
And it's there. So Ahmad Ali takes a
commanding 3-0 lead
in this Pan Am Snooker Championship. We'll be right back with Frame 4 and a little surprise for all of you.
Hang in. Welcome back. We're coming into the fourth frame. The third frame was quite exciting and had the opportunity of Amar coming back and bringing this to a tighter match, but Ahmed stepped up and made the black ball on the side for a 3-0 lead. Amar is just breaking off. I'd like to introduce to you at this moment Ajay Prabhakar, if I pronounce that properly.
Yeah.
Prabhakar. Ajay is the president of PABSA, the Pan American Billiards and Snooker Association, and the gentleman who is mostly responsible and for getting this tournament up and running. I'd like to welcome you to the booth, sir.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dave, and really appreciate all the commentary work that you have done.
Oh, this is fun. This is fun to do. Thank you.
And once again, I'd like to thank the Corner Bank. They've been absolutely wonderful hosts. We had to kind of switch the tournament in the last second, and they were really accommodating, really helpful in putting this together as well.
The original plan was to have this in Brazil this year?
That's correct. That's correct.
And what happened that it didn't occur that way?
There was just some logistics that we couldn't work out fully in time. And we put all our efforts. In fact, the Brazilian Association, did a fantastic job, and they worked tirelessly to actually resolve all the issues that we were having. But unfortunately, in fact, they would have resolved the issues, but it would have taken them a little while longer. And we just decided that it's better to move it.
Back to Toronto this year?
Back to Toronto this year.
Okay. But following years, like next year, is planned for Brazil?
Yes. So the next year is planned for Brazil, and we're confident that we'll be going there
Yes,
for the
it's
tournament.
great. It's great. Are there clubs, not necessarily like the Corner Bank, but are there clubs that are enough size to handle the? I think they probably had 50 or 60 players here this time around.
Right. Actually, in what the plan in Brazil is actually to set up tables in a venue. So we'll be, getting tables and setting up a venue, like kind of assembling the tables in a venue.
Like in a large hotel room, ballroom or something.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's going to be very
wonderful.
accessible from the hotel.
Yes.
And essentially to dismantle it after the tournament starts.
Yes.
So it'll be like a venue set up just for the Pan American Championships.
They used to do that for the Canadian Championships at the CNE, right, where they brought in tables
I heard
back
about
in
that.
the 70s, I think
and
it was.
80s.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
it's a concept that would be wonderful, because then it takes it out of the pool room situation where there's a pool tournament going on in the background and there's a bar running and music running and all of that.
Absolutely.
So you'd have much more control of the environment.
Oh yes, and also I think if it's close to the hotel, like the accommodation, that's a big incentive for the players as
Yes,
well.
yeah.
Oh, that was a.
I almost gave it a commentator's curse there, but maybe it was because I thought it. Amar came on and made a blue and two blacks and seemed to be getting into pretty good rhythm there. He did leave himself hindered with a cue ball very close to a red that he had to shoot away from to try and make a ball. And so he was a little rushed and a little bit of movement on it, and he missed the ball. So Ahmed has an opportunity to come in and.
Yeah, he's taking on a pretty tough red. Yeah, to get back to the blue, I would assume.
That is about the first mistake that I've seen Ahmed make.
Yeah, he's been
solid.
extremely clinical, I think, this afternoon.
It's the first time I think he's ever been behind in points. And so I'll just make sure this looks good.
Yeah, also I think it's a frame Amar, I think, desperately needs. I think if he goes 4-zip down, I think it's going to be very, very hard to come back.
And it would almost be just playing for pride, trying to grab a frame to not make it a whitewash. But
yeah, especially the way Ali is playing.
That one kind of came in the side door there.
It did.
Looked like he hit it a bit thick. I was commenting when I watched Amar play yesterday that his pre-shot routine is like clockwork. If he's not ready, he comes up. He sets himself 2 steps in, one fairly long feather, one short feather. He hits the ball, and he does that every time.
Absolutely. I actually got to play him in the round robin phase.
Yes, you were in the tournament.
Yeah,
yes,
I was in the tournament, and
yes.
I got to play him, and I could actually watch him up close. And he's a great player. And I think he's got all the ingredients to be, a very, very good player.
Yeah.
I mean, he already is a very good player, but I think he can really get to the next level.
I've seen him develop. I've played him a number of times here at the Corner Bank, and I don't know that I've ever played him in a tournament, but just watching him play, and he's part of a group of younger players that have come on. I actually don't know how old he might be, but I put him in the mid-30s.
Actually, I think he's in his early 30s.
Early
I mean,
30s,
if I'm not mistaken, he's probably like 31 or 32, in that range.
Yeah, and it's what?
Oh, that was unfortunate.
It's
He had an option to actually play a follow-through onto the cushion.
I think he was thinking he would kiss that second red and pull it back off the cushion,
but yeah, it was a bit unfortunate.
If we had replay, we could actually see whether he actually struck it where he went to and all that. But it's as a professional coach, as a professional coach, I watch players and see how they're doing, and he's wonderful to watch. And that may have been just that he didn't quite generate the follow-through that he needed. He may have moved a little bit.
Right, and I think the table's playing pretty quick. It's slick with not too much nap on. So I think he couldn't get enough screw back on that ball.
Sometimes players also think that if they hit the ball harder, they'll get more result. And that's not always the case.
That's true.
Sometimes a very soft shot with good follow-through and technique and timing, as it's termed, is much better than hitting the ball hard.
Absolutely.
So, now you have a playing history. I don't know much about your playing background, but have you won world championships?
No, unfortunately. But I've been playing since I was a junior, and I think the best I've ever done is finish 6th in the World Under 21 Championships, which Ronnie O'Sullivan won back in 1991. I've won a couple of U.S. nationals as well. But I just love to play. It's something I'm very passionate about, and obviously I want to see the game grow in the Americas. I think, and I think it's a wonderful opportunity that we have here to really grow the game in the right way.
Yeah, I know for myself, I have never been a contender. I've loved playing for many, many years, but I remember about 5 years ago I decided it was time that I put back something into the game. And that's when I went and got my certification as a WPBSA coach. Right. And so we now, my partner in business and I, John Wallace, do coaching now here in Canada. And we're looking to start being able to do some in the United States as well. But it was probably similar to your thinking. It was time to put back in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, we have... the right set of people, and the organization, and we are recognized, with all the world bodies, and obviously this tournament gets a tour card, and I think we have all the right ingredients to really make it happen in the Americas.
Snooker in Brazil right now seems to be doing now. Whether it's just we're seeing 9 players come up this year from Brazil.
Yes,
I think it was 9.
There was a good set of players. Under pretty difficult circumstances, to be honest, because the real against the dollar really took a beating over the last year. Travel became incredibly expensive. But we still had a fairly large contingent, from Brazil.
It was nice to see.
If the exchange rates were more favorable, I'm sure we would have had 16 or 20 players from Brazil in this championship.
That would have been wonderful. We can only hope that we get that in Canada at some point in the future. Right? Absolutely. That's what we're working towards.
Absolutely.
But,
and we've had participation from Bermuda, and we are actually working on getting other South American countries involved in these championships. There's a lot of snooker played in Trinidad and Tobago as well. But Ali made a great shot.
Great I don't know whether he was playing shape on that ball when he made the last black, or if he didn't quite get the position he wanted.
Right.
But as a recovery shot,
it was
brilliant. That's a wonderful
shot. I think he's got a good opportunity to kind of claw back into the frame here.
He's certainly got, when I was speaking with David on the last frame, that phrase, he's got the cue ball on a string. He's doing really well with his cue ball control so far. Yeah,
I've played him, in several big occasions, and he's, really an occasional player. He's extremely determined, and he gives it all on every shot, and that's what you really need as a snooker player. You need to really give it all.
that level of focus. And he certainly shows more emotion or more passion than most snooker players do.
Absolutely, he does. He wears his emotion on the sleeve, as they say.
Yeah. And when you hear the professional players speak of that, they're always trying to dumb their emotion down, to hide it, to look stoic in the chair.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think from that perspective, yes, Ali is quite different. But I think snooker needs a little bit of variation with respect to showing of emotions, and I think a lot of the crowd can get behind a little bit of emotion from the players as well.
The purists may not like it as much.
Absolutely.
But for the television audience, it might be perfect.
Yes,
right?
I think it's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Because we definitely need a lot more, kind of audience engagement in the sport, and we don't want to make it too robotized, do we?
No, you want the personalities. Like Ronnie O'Sullivan has been a personality.
Absolutely.
Right. He's been not everybody's favorite because of what he's done on the table and what he's done at tournaments and all that over the years. But he's developed this following of people that are passionate about following him. They love him for his imperfections, if you will, right?
Correct.
And fully respectfully, but it's just they love him because he's a human being, not a robot, to use that word.
Absolutely, and I think that's the good thing about sports, because once you get your fans involved, they want to see kind of how you feel, and it's a big ingredient of your fan following.
As we're kind of watching this on the table as well, Muhammad Ali has taken the lead. That one he has overhit just a touch, I think. Can't see from our angle, but it looks like he's just a tiny bit too far. Either straight or... So Ahmed will play this blue. It looks very straight. We're just off angle on the wrong side. Shaking his head a bit, and so he's just looking at rolling the cue ball straight through here, and then playing this red, the 1 second from the rail. He's looking at the pink. Pink might be a better positional ball, but the blue is the one to take. Continue the run. I think he wanted that about 6 inches further, so he would not have had to use the rest.
Yes, I think it's now, he needs to choose which color he's going to, he wants to land on to get the red, out of the cushion. And he's made the red a little tougher.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good stroke. He may end up going for a double, I think, maybe on the red, unless he has the angle to actually get the red out.
Or he may have an angle to draw the cue ball back to the rail and play it into the long corner.
Into the corner?
Yeah.
That would be an
That
aggressive
almost
shot
looks
to
like
take
the
on.
angle he has, but try.
That's unlucky.
You can see from his reaction, and we were talking a bit
We were just
earlier
talking about
that.
his emotion, yes. There you go.
There was a fist to the mouth. He almost bit his finger. And, he may really. No, he wouldn't try the cross bank double. No.
Yeah, I think this is always the risk.
Yeah.
When you're playing safety like that, is
you catch a horn, you catch something, you hit another ball along the way, and you don't know where the ball's going to be. It's better to play a one-way shot, just play the safe.
Yeah,
Double make it behind the black, something like that.
Yeah, learning from my own mistake, I think those type of shots is best to play just off one cushion rather than trying to play it off multiple cushions.
All right, so the situation we're in here is Amar is down 14 points, and he has the opportunity to steal this frame again, as he did last time. He needs to keep his cool. This is the practice run we all do, running the colors.
Yeah, this is kind of very critical at this point that he seals this frame.
Yeah, that might have been another thought, although the lead wasn't that big. Sometimes if you have a big lead, it's a good thing to push the yellow or the green ball onto one of the side rails to stop your opponent from running out. But with a 14-point lead, you wouldn't be thinking that because you would need those balls.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So
I think if he pots this yellow and lands well on the green.
The temptation is always to hit those very light and hold it. He played it very well with a touch of right-hand siding, so it didn't go towards the side pocket, and he came off 2 rails to get this position. So he's still thinking well, right, under these pressure situations.
Yeah, and that's another thing I found about Amar is he has a very cool head on his shoulders, and he's really good. His shot selection has been really great.
And what he needs here is he needs the brown, blue, and pink. He's overhit that one maybe a bit. It wasn't meant to be that close to the side pocket for sure, but a little bit of adrenaline.
He's now going to make the pink a lot more difficult.
Yes.
And
but I think the shot here is to still roll the blue in.
Yes.
And play the pink in. To try and go around the corners when it's that straight is not going to work.
And also he's very close to the middle pocket, so it's going to be hard to cue this well.
Yeah. And as a right-handed player, he leaves it halfway across the table between the blue spot and the side rail, and he's got as much of a chance to make that as not. So
absolutely.
Well played.
It's a good shot, but again, he's going to have memories from last frame. Hopefully he can. He can put.
If he doesn't, then he has a great chance of making this.
Hopefully he'll be able to put that away. And
he is also. He's a tournament player. He's a money player as well. He's been in this situation before, where he needs a ball to finish off a frame. So I'd give him about a 70-30 on this, if I was a betting man.
Yeah, I think it's hard when you've lost a close frame.
He's hanging his head a bit here, which we haven't seen him do much. But he's had 2 opportunities, and one in the last frame and one in this frame. So he's certainly putting himself through the mill at this moment.
Yeah, Ali has an option to play with a lot of topspin to come off the bottom cushion and the side cushion back towards the black, or he can play a deep screw, but I think it'll be
Judd
very
Trump
risky.
special.
A Judd Trump special.
With a lot of bottom left.
That's right.
Bring it to the side rail and 2 rails for black in the right-hand corner.
Yeah, he uses a pretty unconventional cue, but he's able to play those power shots pretty well as well.
Again, there's a bit of movement beyond the table, which Ahmed seems to see more than most players. He gets distracted by something beyond the table.
He does.
More than most.
He does. I think he wants everything to be absolutely still.
Well, it's not going to be an easy shot.
I think he's pretty much got away with it. Amar has a shot on this, but
In the side.
It's in the side pocket, but I think it's very tough. But since he only needs the pink, it makes it a little easier.
The nice thing about this is the cue ball with maybe a touch of left-hand siding ends up down on the bottom rail. And
That's true.
And if you miss, you want to miss just to the near side horn, not the far horn. Far horn, you end up in trouble because it comes back.
Yeah.
Looks good.
That's it.
That's-
Wow. Well, I guess he listened to you towards the near horn.
Hit it a tiny bit thick. 3-0 lead. Do you go for this one?
I would have gone for this because there's no. Actually, there is
a safety.
easy safety.
There's a
but,
double cross bank.
double cross behind the black, but I would go for the pot.
And he's got away with it again.
Got away with it.
Is it Sean Murphy that said if the safety is as difficult or more difficult than the pot, go for the pot?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it was Sean that said that.
Yeah. Could have
yeah.
been, yeah.
This is
Yeah,
where
it's also exciting to see so many good players in this tournament. There was there were obviously some groups are more difficult than others, but every group was extremely hard.
I think he's going to be okay. Needs to slow down. This is where
Just in time.
Amar made the mistake last time of a bad safety on the black. He didn't get enough of it.
Right.
This time, it doesn't look like it's an in-off into the corner, but it's not far from it.
Yeah, if he's playing a thin shot, there's
Oh.
always a danger. Oh, he's got away again. That is. Fortunate for him.
This is almost if you can get enough, jack the cue up enough to stun this ball. You'd be behind the black on the top rail, and it's almost a two-way shot bank side.
I think the risk here is he doesn't have enough of an angle to send the pink towards the balk, the balk line or the balk cushion.
Yes, yeah.
So if it remains on this half of the table, then there is a risk of leaving it to the center pocket if you don't get the snooker, and I
Yes.
think that's the big risk for him.
He's giving it lots of thought. Okay. He may be doing what I was thinking.
Yes. And this is the problem because now, he's I think
Is that makeable?
in my opinion, I think the shot to play would have been a containing shot where you just put the pink on the other rail.
Yeah.
Just roll it to the other rail.
Yeah.
That way, you're not giving this type of opportunity. I think he's landed perfect. This will be a
Pretty
very
straightforward.
hard thing to take for Hamar,
Yeah.
I think.
Ahmed will take every second he needs to set on this one.
Yes,
The
he's,
importance of this is huge. Not coming out of his normal rhythm too much, but this is a bit of a stretch. That's a long bridge.
It is. I don't understand why he's. Oh yeah, I think he's fairly stable.
Yeah. So I'd like to thank you for coming aboard for a frame, and it's been a pleasure talking with you.
Great. Thanks a lot, Dave.
Oh, anytime. Well,
And, I'd like to say thanks to Dave Barney as well. Great job you guys are doing.
thanks
Really
for
appreciate
giving us the
all your
chance
help.
to yak away.
Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. We'll be taking about, I think, a 5 or 10 minute break here before the fifth frame. So please hang in. We will be back. As it stands right now, Ahmed leads 4 games to love. Mar has a long way back to get caught up in this match, but he will certainly do his best. We can guarantee that. So we'll see you back in, I think, about 10 or 15 minutes probably. Thanks. Bye for now.
And welcome back, everybody, to the 2022 Pan Am Snooker Championships live from the Corner Bank in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We're just returning from the interval, getting everything set up. Ahmad Ali has a commanding 4-0 lead over Amar Sadiq, and I'm accompanied by David Putty, and it's David Burney here.
And good afternoon. We're getting ready to start up the 5th frame here shortly. It's a bit of a last 2 frames, a bit of a tough grind for Amar. It came down to a couple of shots where he could have made the ball and won the frame, so it could be 2-2 just as easily as it's 4-0, but a couple of safeties that didn't quite work out for Amar, and a rule that didn't go his way, and it's 4-0, so he has a long way to go to come back.
And just so we don't jinx it, but I do always like to do this when we're on the cusp of possibly the conclusion to the match. A round of thank yous to so many people out there. Aldo, who comes in every morning, brushes and blocks and iron these tables. We really appreciate all his hard work. Kevin Patrick as our tournament director / head referee. He's been doing it for a long time and just does it like it's like a drop of a hat for him. Larry LaSalle, Bob Jazequil, NASCAR Bob, as he's known around here, and Ernst Bazmir as our referees. They did a great job. Can't say enough about Jim White and John White and all the staff here at Corner Bank. They've done a fantastic job of making us feel great at home. Ajay Pradhakar, who's the head of PBSA and USSA, doing a great job to get snooker going here in North America. Our great Brazilian streaming team, the team at CBBS, they did a great job maybe teaching me to learn some Portuguese. Rob Richards, our great streaming producer, has been great to get these wonderful pictures for all you people and making David and I sound fantastic. All those players that came near and far, all the way from down in Brazil to the west coast of British Columbia and Canada and the US. We thank all those players for coming along. And David Putty, I have to say thank you very much. You and your wife have put me up. You've driven me into the tournament, so I can't say it's too much, so I say thank you very, very much. And all you great viewers out there, we really appreciate your viewership. Let's crank up those numbers. Let's get snooker going again here in Canada and definitely down in the US and in South America. It's a great game. And thanks for all of you tuning in, joining us. It might not be the last frame, but we got to get those thanks out there. Let's see what happens. Perhaps on YouTube. Perhaps his YouTube channel.
Just following up that thought of the thank yous, it's great having the opportunity again for David and I to do commentary again together. A few years ago we were doing more of it, but of course COVID came along and that put the brakes on all of that. So this has been the first opportunity that we've had to be back in the booth together, and I just have to say it's been great again. We love doing this stuff together, and great having you in the house. Testing a few single malts.
True.
In the evenings after the day. So, and we are now breaking off frame 5, and not the break off that Ahmed wanted.
Probably the best 4 points you can surrender in this game,
because you're not likely to leave a lot on that break. So Amar's had a chance to kind of gather himself here and hopefully to realize that he hasn't played badly. Just a few couple shots safeties that didn't work, and he's certainly behind the 8 ball here, but if he were to come into stroke now, you might see a couple of quick frames go his way.
Yeah, it's so tough when you just get down to the pink and black and just losing a frame there. Easily could have been yours. Amar does have some friends in the room, so they probably give him a good little pep talk in that interval. So I'm pretty sure giving him a pep talk. Just he knows he's not out of it just yet, because he knows as a tournament player that last frame to get the title is always the toughest.
There's a good question here from Toronto CFC. What were the biggest surprises in this tournament? That's an interesting question. If I'm thinking to answer that, I want to say that there haven't been that many surprises. There have been some very, very high quality players in this tournament, and they've largely come to the top.
True.
I think that Noel was one of the players from Brazil that was maybe touted to go deeper.
I think as well.
Itaro.
Yeah.
Itaro was that's a great shot. When you play those safeties, you are always considering that it may end up behind a bulk color. Ideally, you're playing the weight to go to the bottom rail because it's tougher to play if you're frozen to the rail. But if you happen to come off a rail and end up behind a color, you're in great strength. But yeah, a couple of Brazilian players ended up playing each other actually and neutralizing each other. We're just getting a little technical support here.
Yeah, our good friend Newt Wales over in Detroit is saying there's some technical problems. The image is frozen, but now everything seems to be okay. Good to hear. Thanks for letting us know, Newt.
Thanks, Newt.
If there's any image problems or audio problems, we've got Rob Richards, a great streaming producer that can fix any problem that throws at him.
He's our hero.
I have to say as well, Vito Puapo. That's a surprise, as he won the seniors event. He's the reigning Canadian champion, and he was out in the quarterfinals. So that just shows you how strong a field it is.
And his match, I believe, came down to like pink or black in the final frame. So it wasn't like he got blown out, but played like another one of the strong players in this field. And it didn't go the way he wanted. So again, the balls are being replaced back to the foul and a miss. One of the things the players do when they're playing out of snookers like this is they are very aware of where they've hit the ball onto the rail, and they've watched the result of what's happened. So now when Amar goes back down to hit this ball, he will make the adjustment either with siding or changing the point that he aims at. So he's passed. It's a great shot, and he did not get away with it, I don't think.
Yeah, it's interesting how Larry LaSalle will turn to both players and get their agreement on the respot when that happens. And funny enough, I got to meet Olivier Martil, who's a great referee from Belgium over the World Champs, and got to talking to him. I'm like, with all the technology that you have at the World Championships, why are you asking the players? You have the technology to get the spot right down. And he's all like, well, that's true, but I guess it's just habit from what they used to when they didn't have the technology. And then there was definitely an interesting respot in the final with Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Yes. So Ahmed has just mishit a ball with in mind of position by some considerable distance. He overdrew that ball by almost 6 feet. So we're getting a couple of messages here saying the stream is lagging. Hang in with us while Rob works on that technical issue. Maybe let us know when it comes back well or if it's still an issue, but it is being worked on. Hang in with us.
Yes, I just actually had a moment to talk to Rob off camera. And there's a lot of cell phones in here, a lot of people, so the Wi-Fi can be a little finicky right now because we're on a Wi-Fi system. We're not hardwired in there, so hopefully things can calm down and we sound clear and the picture is less stuttery.
Hopefully people hang up their phones.
True. Football is on, so all your bets should be in. appreciate that feedback, and hopefully things will get cleared up momentarily. Got that nice comment from Dave DeLeo all the way out there in Seattle, Washington. Dave, thanks for tuning in. We're missing you out here. I know he had plans to come out here, but some things had happened to force him not to come down. But I guess that would be pretty impressive. 3 days in one room. I don't know if the corner bank could handle that.
So Ahmed got a fairly good roll off that missed safety play. Mar will try this one in the side, but a little hard to control the cue ball off of this. It will either come into these reds by the pink, or it might just slide by.
Now he's got away with it.
There's one available to the left middle pocket. Don't know if that's going to be worth the risk, or there may be one into the left corner here. One of these two that are closest to the cue ball. With a 4-0 lead, Ahmed may be in a position where he can feel comfortable taking on maybe a riskier ball that might leave something, but he can't really take his foot off the pedal here. He has to stay focused and sharp and get this job done. Obviously his preference would be to get it done now as opposed to next frame or next frame, but
yeah, then that, as we've talked numerous times about the momentum, the momentum can swing and it feels like you're falling down a hill and you just can't grab anything.
Very nicely done.
Silky smooth.
Yeah, there's a pretty quick 12, 18, 24 points here just with the blues, if he chooses to stay on that. Pink and black are in a good position to take fairly quickly here, and the reds are wide open, so Ahmed is going to have to make a mistake here for Amar to have a chance. But at this point, the way Ahmed's been playing, I don't anticipate that there'll be a breakdown.
No, he's come focused today.
And he keeps it very simple. He's not complicating it for himself.
Just a little moment. Hey, friends out there in the stream, how are we doing? Are we still
We got
a
a
little
stream
glitchy?
stream is still freezing. Stream is lagging.
So the internet is lagging in the corner bank right now, so that might, unfortunately for you viewers, might be a frozen or a stuttering kind of feel. So we really apologize. Hopefully things can turn around in here and we can get this stream up nice and fresh and good for you.
Ooh, it's a bad miscue.
Yeah, that definitely sounded funny.
It's absolutely a miscue of some kind. He's very good about chalking his cue. He's very good about. It's very unusual. It didn't even sound like a kick. It sounded like it happened when he contacted the cue ball.
Correct.
So is that the TSN turning moment? Oh, probably shouldn't have said that.
Well, you did say moment, so I think they have a different wording that was
Oh, do that.
copyrighted.
Okay. If so, I apologize. Don't sue me. this might be a moment when Amar goes, hey, you know what? Just relax and make some balls, and
You never know where that one opening is going to present itself for you, and maybe this is it for Amar.
oh,
It's going to bond.
No. Okay. Yeah, puff of the cheeks. That was a lot closer to an in-off than he was ever thinking it would be. He's walking around the table, calming himself, assessing the table, seeing what he has to do. Okay. He was pretty straight on that, obviously, with the ball almost going into the side pocket. So this was one of those just make the points and see what happens after. He does have a thin cut into the side pocket. Cue ball should go onto the downside of the yellow ball and come around for one of the bulk colors, if he were to make it.
It's tough to see, obviously, on your screens when it is up and running. Hopefully the jittering is stopped, but it's nice to see we've got some youngsters actually in the room taking in the action. I think that would just inspire them to pick up a cue, looking on intently. So we might be seeing a future Pan American champion in the midst of the crowd.
Oh, Ahmed is certainly getting a few good rolls. He's just played a safety off the top cushion, side cushion, got a kiss on the green, and Amar is now snookered on every ball, every red ball on the table. He's standing there stoically, assessing what he has to do.
Thanks for the feedback, Newt, acknowledging that the stream is better.
What we're also being told by Rob Richards is that the feed, the YouTube continues to record. So what you would be able to do once the match is over is go to YouTube and get a whole full run of what we've been missing so far. So keep that in mind. Amar has missed that first shot, so he is being put back by Ahmed for attempt number 2. Keeping in mind that in the preliminary rounds here there were only 3 attempts, but in play as it is now, very nicely done.
He's not going to be too upset with the 4-point foul there, because he didn't want to leave it down in the top end of the table, because how these balls are spread out and the black ball's on its spot, it could be a profitable visit for Ahmad.
Yeah. And it was also a great example of the first time he played that shot, he hit the cue ball further up the side rail, missed it by a certain amount. Second time he kept that in mind, came a little backwards on the rail and hit the ball exactly where he wanted. So it's kind of like throwing out depth charges. You figure out where it is and you come back and keep it locked in your mind as to where you hit the ball, and now you can make the shot the next time. Amar now has another entry shot. Cue ball looks like it'll kiss a couple of balls along the way.
Definitely thought about it a little bit there. I think his heart skipped a beat.
And he's in a position for black or pink. His choice. He's certainly feeling the pressure. if you watch his face, he's puffing his cheeks out and deep breathing and trying to relax. Looking like he's not in love with the pink or the black, considering the blue. Again, a pressure shot, and we're not seeing Amar's game today. Not yet.
Both players feeling it a little bit.
The pressure is real.
Yeah, this isn't your usual club tournament where you may be walking home with dinner money. Winner punches their way into the World Snooker Tour over in England, a 2-year card. So very, very impressive. Every boy or girl's dream to play professional snooker.
And Ahmed would have in the back of his mind, maybe as a positive thought, that last year he was in this situation in the final and came up short. This year he's in a very much of a control position, being ahead 4-0, and all he needs to do is keep his thoughts together, keep his focus, and he's there. So that may be a calming thing for him if he allows it to be. I'm not sure if that brown passes the yellow into the corner, and I'm not sure if that's a shot he would take anyway.
Yeah, or even the brown's blocking the pawning angle on the yellow. I think as our fellow colleagues over in England would say, he's betwixt and between. Might be thinking, can I catch a break? But hang on, it's a funny game. Sometimes when you don't think you have the rolls, they start to turn around for you. So have some patience.
He's called the yellow ball, I believe. Opted for a good quality safety. That patience you were talking about earlier. I think he's going for this one in the corner. He was.
Yeah, probably 4-0. Not a bad idea because he gets in.
And I think it was one of those situations again where the safety was as difficult as the shot. So you might as well try the shot. It looks like that shot actually is pretty good. It would have been easy for him to be hampered by any one of those 3 reds, but I think he's actually going to be in pretty good position for this. Yeah, he can come in clean. Okay.
He's got an opportunity. Put a good break on the board here.
came up a little high on that one. He would have liked that to have been straighter. Now he has to baby this one in for it to hold for the black.
He's not making it easy for himself.
That's one of those shots where you hit it thicker than you might want because you don't want the cue ball to move down the table as much. So if you miss that shot, it's usually because you've hit it too thick. Now he's hampered by that red. Nicely done.
Some very awkward bridging, and he did well to get that black in there. Seems to be our YouTube feed has been adjusted. So
it's saying better. Thank you, Newt. Better is good. So Amar currently has a 10-point lead, and we'll have to do playing of a safety here. And he really only has the pink and the blue to play safe off of. He's calling the pink ball. If you can actually hear the referee as they're doing that, nicely done. As the player says pink, the referee repeats it right away in case there was any confusion. But when you're shooting a white ball towards two colors, if there's any unknown, if it's any uncertainty, the player, it's strongly advised that the player call the ball that they're planning to hit.
Yes, and the referee announces it, so there's no. Whoa. Is this how this championship is won?
One of the ways that I speak of some of this sometimes is the table seems tilted in one player's favor, and for him to have hit that shot to the corner in such a way that it went 3 rails and landed cleanly in the side with perfect brown shape, Amar can't take much joy in that. Wow.
Yeah. It is part of the game.
Yeah.
Probably a fantastic break by our good friend Cliff Thorburn over in 1983 at the Crucible Theater. Had a fluke to start off. A beautiful 147.
First televised
Televised
game?
in completion. They do say that Steve Davis had the first televised 147, but unfortunately, halfway through the break, the television crew had to break for their union meals, and so the footage was not there. So, Canada, good on you, Cliff. Got the first ever televised and the first maximum at the Crucible Theater. As well, still strong. 1980 world champion, 3 times master champions. A man that definitely knows his way around the table. Canadian proud. Cliff Thorburn. We thank you, Cliff, for being a trailblazer, that's for sure. He was the first Canadian to go over there, and then as people probably heard a little earlier in the broadcast, Cliff went on a little tour of Canada and tried to recruit some players, and that's where Jim White and Kirk Stevens went, and that opened the door for other great Canadians like Brady Golan, Bill Werbenick, and Alain Robitaille.
Yeah. When I was younger in this game, there were, I think, 8 Canadians on tour at the time, or very close to tour, and it was a whole different world then. Coaching, we were paying coaches $100 an hour back in 1985 for snooker coaching. I was one of those people that paid that money and got value out of it. There was a coach by the name of Tony LeMay.
As I say, those double kisses are only good in France. Yeah, it's interesting. I hear some players kind of moaning a little bit about the commute, but in Cliff's early days, his commute was flying across the Atlantic Ocean for a tournament. Ran a bit high for the black.
But he's got the yellow with the red sitting right there. He doesn't need to do anything for position. He's only 5 points down at this point, so the table's not really set up much for an easy run out. So I believe this will come down to the colors.
That red ball is really close to his claw color there.
And Larry LaSalle was watching closely.
True. Might have been able to be a bit closer. But the sportsmanship of this game, as we've alluded to all weekend long, the etiquette, Ahmad's a player that if he did touch that red, he would pop up and call the foul.
It sounded almost like another miscue.
It did sound a little funny.
There was a tick there that...
Maybe that's something going on with these carbon fiber cues. Ahmad, one of the only players I think that I know of that uses the carbon fiber, but definitely enjoys it very much.
I was talking with a friend of his from New York last night. We were talking about the carbon fiber, and the reason Ahmed wears a glove is that there's the carbon fiber gets sticky. So it holds moisture or something, and it's a very different. So by wearing the glove, you're frictionless on your bridge. This would be an interesting positional shot.
Yeah, Michael Jackson always wore a glove. I wonder if he was a good snooker player.
I never heard that he was.
Yeah.
But perhaps,
I'm pretty sure the King of Pop had the space to put him
I would
at
think
snooker
so.
table at Neverland, so.
At the circus that Neverland was. We might.
I think he could nestle
One
behind
way
that
to say
pin.
this is I don't think Amar's going to like his next shot. I think he's going to be right behind the pink.
Well done. That was tough bridging, definitely. It's a little bit cooler. He had to lay out on the table. 43-33 in this fifth frame. Ahmad Ali is leading 4 frames to nothing. Just on the cusp of achieving a young Egyptian boyhood dream. Who would have thought? As his father took him into the snooker halls over in Egypt, is where he fell in love with the game, and now he could be punching his way over to England to play on the professional
What a
tour.
good hit. What a good hit. That shot, if he didn't make it, could have cost Amar the frame in the match. He's made a great hit on it. Left it relatively safe. I don't think Ahmad's going to do anything with this, but I think Ahmed smells the finish line. I'm not sure if that was a considered control shot. It was, if I make this bank, I win the match.
True.
At the speed he hit it. And did the yellow ball save him?
Both players looking intently.
I'd suggest, by Amar's body language, that it's available.
But as a reprieve, that green might just be a little tricky there up there on
Yeah,
the ball cushion.
The green, with a 10-point lead, He might, if he can make this ball, he might even play the green now. The aggressive shot here is play the blue in the corner and bring the cue ball down. Or he's considering playing the green because it will give him a pretty easy yellow shape to follow. So, and would get the green back on the spot for the easier run out. Well, he went for it. He went for the finish line.
He did.
And full credit to him for that.
Like we say all the time, David, it's coming down to the colors. It's going to pop out, I think.
Hard shot to get back to the green, though. Especially with the cue ball relatively tight to the rail. Got away. Both of them got away with the last shot.
You can just feel the finishing line. It's just so tough sometimes. Gradionians here, they're just glued to this table, not looking away at all. Really
We're getting another, don't know how old this is. Mike Collier saying the stream is freezing again. I think that's an older one. I don't know. And they tried for the snooker behind the black. Tough shot from there, but another opportunity.
2-2 is not too bad, but when it's 4-0, Amar just knows all these shots are so pressure.
I think when this match is over, if it ends the way with Ahmed winning, I think Amar will take a really serious look at the shots that he did miss. He's had opportunity. He just hasn't made the most of them. Not in the sense of beating himself up on it, but just how do you play those pressure shots when you need to?
Yeah.
So that's the learning point that he's at with this.
Yeah, I've seen a fair amount of shots today that he's missed that he was just knocking in easily yesterday in the semifinals. So.
And that is standing over in the corner, eyes closed, talking to himself. Nice shot. Made sure he got it past the side pocket.
I think the one problem as well sometimes is we have people in the room that are watching the stream as well.
Okay.
That I do see a few cell phones out there watching it, and that might be the lagging problem that we're having.
Well, And that's well played. It's a good result. Hard to avoid the double kiss here, unless he plays it thin cross bank on the yellow. Okay, got away with it. He's looking at the potting angle.
Wow. Very nice.
Again, full credit for going for his shots. If he hits that a little bit lighter, he's in perfect position for the green, or a little bit harder, coming off 2 more rails. But full credit for going for the balls when they're there to be tried.
You're never going to be handed the victory. Sometimes you got to take it on your back and go at it full-blooded. And didn't get greedy there.
He did not get the hook.
Red Ali 46. Mark Sedang 33.
So 13 points in it. So at this point, the situation would be is that Ahmed requires all 5 balls on the table to win the frame, and Ahmed needs 2 balls. He needs the green and the brown to put Amar into a situation where he needs hook snookers. So the safety battle continues.
Just think of the angle he wanted. He wanted to be behind that brown.
Wanted a bit more angle on that, but by banking the green up towards the pink and the blue, he's made sure that at least that ball wasn't makeable. If he hit it too much harder, it might have gone sort of underneath the blue into the pocket, but not the case as to what's happened.
It's actually really nice to see as well. A lot of the players that were in the tournament are back in the room to watch this final. Sometimes players are just done and booked their ticket out of town earlier, but a lot of players in the tournament are in here, so that's nice to see. I think they know how important this match is for both players. A great opportunity.
Nicely done. He needed to be careful there that the green didn't kiss onto the black and kick over towards the side pocket, or corner pocket. He did a very good job of that. A little thinner than he intended, but still safe.
Thanks for the comment, Dave. Yeah, it's just something's going on with the Wi-Fi. That's Dave Daly out there in Seattle just letting us know that it's really choppy, getting unwatchable. I apologize for that. Hopefully maybe a lot of people can get off their cell phones and just enjoy the live action here.
Again, just a reminder on that too is that we have been told that it is being recorded fully through the feed. So when it is over, you'll be able to watch it on YouTube without the interruption, is what our tech guru Rob Richards has told us. So Ahmed Ali is one ball away from a solid opportunity to go to play in England on the World Snooker Tour. He needs one of these balls. Amar needs all four.
Thanks, Vern, for the feedback. He said it seemed like it just started buffing after the interval, so I guess we can't give these players breaks anymore.
Right.
Play on. You're messing up the stream. Yeah, Maud's heart's got to be pumping right now. He's just got to settle himself.
This is the devil on one shoulder, the devil on the other, or the angel on the other. If you go for it and make it, it's automatic, almost automatic blue shape. If you play safe, you live for another day. I think he's going for it. Well, maybe not. You got it past the side this time, so at least
3-3, I don't think he takes this brown on, but 4-0. Or
Yeah.
4-4, I should say. He probably won't take this brown
Right.
on, but 4-0. He's playing with house money a little bit right here.
right. The cue ball is going towards the pocket, but not in.
And Amar's fortunate enough because I don't think he's angled up there.
No. He may be just bringing the cue ball down, or safer shot would be to bring the brown down. Needs it to slow down. Good shot. There are a number of scenarios here where that pink ball, if he hits it too hard, could go into the corner. He needs to be very careful. Could also hook him behind the pink.
Yeah, it's not all power shots in snooker. That's what makes this game great. Little finesse shots. Okay, he didn't get the snooker, but he did get it safe. Wow, very nice shot there. Thought maybe a parachute shot might happen. He might double kiss and push the cue ball down into bulk, but great touch there by Amar. He's not going quietly, that's for sure. And with 16 in it and 22 on the table, he can be put back. two cushions here, coming off the side and then coming off the bulk cushion. Great hit. Great hit. And does that brown go in the pocket? I think that pink is... Yeah, it's not going to go in the brown.
Actually, it looks like it might go by.
I don't know if anybody told these guys, but it's a 6x12 table.
Yeah.
We're just playing around in almost a 1 foot by 1 foot area.
Still 16 points in it. This would be a great attempt. Lots of right-hand siding. Will be put back.
So, referee LaSalle earning his paycheck right here. Because every millimeter counts here. He's doing a great job there. He's slightly flapping all around. He's got nerves of steel to reset those balls.
Be deeper in, I think. Okay. Both players are happy.
Game on.
One happier than the other. Well, if he hits this well, actually, you know what? He could make this ball. Ooh.
But he didn't leave it
Nice hit.
safe.
Ahmed Ali, 49. Mark Sadek, 38.
This has got tension of a decider.
Oh. A little too much draw on that ball.
Hit the horn and put it out in the middle of the table too.
But the situation with the one stucker that was successful is that now Ahmed needs two balls. He needs the brown and the blue.
Some woman's just adjusting her eyeshadow, creating a mod's line of shots.
Well, Ahmed gets to try that shot he tried last time. Except the black might be in the way this time.
If at first you don't succeed, try again.
He's looking at the angle. It's just needs, he's playing the shot, I think he needs to get it past the black and to the right of the black as we look at it.
A little too much whip in his cream there. Cutting that into the yellow pocket, David, or are you just going to play safe?
I'm going to be playing safe on this one. And he certainly left a tempter.
So another facet to this incredibly perplexing game is sometimes you leave that tester hoping that you'll bait your opponent to take the shot on, and it's a difficult shot. And if they miss, they'll leave an easy shot for you.
Now, as the weight looks to be okay. It's close. I think he's okay. With an automatic angle. Shot. A little puff of the cheeks again.
Well, it's taken a while.
His heart,
looks like he can
his
get
heart
his
is
first
racing
frame.
at this point. He needs to breathe, just relax, go to his pre-shot routine, put the ball in. Yes. All right. We go on for one more frame. Amar has fought his way back.
Yes, he puts his first frame on the board. It's good for him. He's in the match now. Is the comeback on? You got a good round of applause from the hometown crowd here.
I think the reality is that he's played better than the thing that might have happened for him to lose 5-0. He has played better. It could have been 2-2 at one point. He certainly deserved one game out of those that he, it's a 5-0 win wouldn't have represented how well he's played. He's missed opportunities by far, for sure. Ones he would love to have over again.
And we're back here with frame 6. Amar will be breaking off, and actually with that frame win, it seems like he's kicked in together the stream. As Mike Collier says, the stream is much better now.
There you go.
Let's hope we continue on with that. Can the young Canadian come back?
Looks like he's left he's hit that break in such a way that one red has come down and is makeable in the side. He hasn't covered it with the brown, so Ahmed gets the first chance.
Yeah, the black is open, so...
Oh. This will be interesting to see how Ahmed deals with the one frame loss. We wouldn't have anticipated he would have missed that starting red, but he has, and
Touching ball awarded by referee LaSalle. Now, obviously, the ruling there is the touching ball. You can shoot away as the touching signifies the first contact. However, if you're touching a colored ball and you're on a colored, you can nominate that colored ball it's touching or nominate a different colored ball, and that still would be a legal shot. So we're here to entertain and educate you all. It's David Burney with David Putty in the booth. It's the 2022 Pan American Snooker Championships, live from the Corner Bank in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The winner of this match gets a 2-year card on the World Tour.
It's a great opening shot on the red that was tough, and he did not get rewarded for it.
And in fact, that is touching the blue ball, so everyone's up to speed on the ruling on that.
You've covered that one. So the target on this one would be to park the cue ball as close behind the black puck, perhaps, as he can. Might be a little hard.
Red into the yellow pocket.
The weight on this one's going to be important. He has underhit it by about 6 inches. I'm not quite sure where the cue ball will be going on this. Depends how hard he hits it. He might avoid it, but I think he's crashing in.
Just kind of speared at it through the follow-through.
Yeah. I think he also got a very fortunate little kiss on that, in that that last red moving to the left of the back of the pack has blocked the path of that red to the corner. So Ahmed has the long red into the yellow pocket as his most likely shot. Taking a close look at that one, but looks like it's covered. Just rubbed in off that left nub of the pocket, but did drop, so hit at a speed that was likely to accept the ball if it was close. If he had hit that ball hard, it might not have gone in.
Hey David, your fan club president is tuning in. Karen Burney, who's on the edge of their seats watching the great action here.
What he did there was make sure that he stayed low enough to have this red on the left available to him. If he had pulled it back too far, that other red was in the way.
Just when I kind of feel like his engine was starting up.
There's a thing about when you hit a cue ball, you want to hit it like you would kick a soccer ball or hit a baseball. You want to be accelerating through the hit. And what I think I noticed there was that he decelerated. He didn't have the proper follow through and decelerated so that the cue picks up siding because you're not hitting the cue ball right where you want to hit it. I believe that's probably what happened on that shot.
It's definitely nice to see that the stream has come back to normal and the pictures are pretty and the voices are clear. Feel free to let us know where you're tuning in from. If you have any comments or questions, lots of rules, and David Putty can give you a great explanation on every little detail of this wonderful game of snooker.
Most. Again, Ahmed is taking the shots where he can. He's hit that with fairly good control. Thoughtful that the only ball that he might have left was the one that he was shooting. This one to the black, to the right of the black, is the one that Amar is looking at. Nicely done. Unless he has very good shape on a ball here that he is sure he can make, I think it would be a safety coming up.
Yeah, there might be an angle, maybe take this red into the side, but trailing 4-1.
Yeah. He's looks like a roll up. Oh, he's played it. Nicely done. He may be starting to feel like he's back in the game. And it would be, if he was going to show his playing ability, now would be a wonderful time to do it for him. It would certainly be a comeback for the ages if he came back and won 5 straight.
Be almost like the Chicago Cubs in 2016 that erased a 108-year deficit. They had not won the World Series and they were trailing 3-1 in that series and came back to beat the Cleveland Guardians.
Didn't Boston have one of those long runs too?
They did as well.
Didn't win anything for a long time.
They had a long run, since 1914. I believe the Red Sox, and they were on the precipice of being knocked out by the New York Yankees, down 3-0, and they came back and beat the Yankees to put themselves in the World Series and then won it there. So stranger things have happened in sports.
And that's why you play the games.
The great actor Michael Douglas has gone on a record said, "I'm not really much of a movie buff. I'm more of a sports fan because with movies I know how they're going to end. I don't know how sports are going to end." And we've seen so many times in this game that momentum is such a big thing. Took his medicine.
Yep, made some points, got out. As I'm watching Ahmed Ali hit that last ball, it was a long shot, he was hitting it hard, but a fair amount of body motion.
Okay.
So it may be that he's too early.
Ouch.
I was going to say it may be that Ahmed's starting to feel the pressure a bit. Thinking he should have finished that off last time.
Yeah, it's only going to sting Amar if Ahmad takes a good break here. So.
There's really one shot. And if Ahmed makes this shot, he's in, and there's lots of balls to make. It's not the easiest of shots, but talk about pocket weight.
That's willing the ball to go in for sure. You know what I'm just thinking actually right now with our problems with the stream, I think we just had an excessive amount of viewership that probably
Maybe.
busted up the stream. So thanks to all of you for tuning in. That miss is now really hurting for Amar.
Yeah, that one was a big surprise because that was one he would make 99.9 out of 100 times.
But snooker is an individual sport. You have to do the business. You can't rely on your teammates. There's no tight end or back catcher that's going to save the day.
Can't blame it on the quarterback?
No, sir.
No.
You are the quarterback. You're calling the plays when you're at the table.
So Ahmed played for shape on the pink here, but he's decided to take the brown instead. I think because the next red was easier off the brown. Which he's hit it well and is right in perfect position for the next red and blue, and he's continuing on.
Funny contact there.
Another miscue. Probably fortunate he wasn't using much siding on that shot, because otherwise that shot may have gone sideways on him.
So, yeah, on that bad contact, Ahmad's just taking a moment to take a look at his cue. Get one of those 3 tool items there.
Yeah. Basically what it is, it's one of those, it has a lot of pinpricks on it, and it breaks up the face of the tip a little bit, so it holds more chalk better, and a little softer contact on the hit. Sometimes the tip will get too hard.
I guess he kind of aerated his tip.
Yeah. Well,
Just a little
he
unfortunate.
found about a 4-inch gap between those balls and came straight through it. Well, how's your combination play?
I'm not sure. Go check it out on the pool table right here. He's going to dig out his garden hoe and hopefully bury a plant.
Nice shot.
Well done.
Yeah.
That's pressure, that shot. It's always nice. The plants are easy when the 2 red balls, say, are glued together. But when there's that space, you got to be pinpoint precise. really good for Ahmad now.
No. Ahmed has the lead by a few points, by 5 points, and he's at the table, and the reds are opened up. Taking this one along the rail again.
This one didn't even touch a cushion at all. Just found the bottom of the pocket.
May have come up a little further than he wanted. So black is a little straighter than he would have liked. Black is the ball of choice. So.
This is a wonderful opportunity for Ahmad. He's just got to keep focused upon book his plane ticket to England. I don't know if that pink passes the red in the open on the right side of the table.
At this point, if he was to take the 3 open reds and 3 combination of pinks and blacks, he would still need that last red. So he needs, almost in any combination, he still needs all 4 reds. Yeah, that miss was caused by trying to improve his position significantly. Put a little pressure on the pot, that's all. So down by 20 points. So again, if Amar was to take pinks and blacks with the remaining reds, he would need to get to the blue to win the frame.
Oh, that's not what the doctor ordered.
See the look on his face as he saw how far that white traveled. And he did.
Rub on that yellow. I don't think he wanted that, but red out in the open at the top end of the table isn't potted for Ahmad, but he might just clip off that red that's closest to the cushion. Maybe with an angle he could get around the yellow. That's okay. Hasn't really left anything out there. So how many more twists and turns are we going to get in this 6th frame? Amara Sadiq holding on for dear life, trailing 4-1 in the match. Double kiss, but I think he's going to be okay. Don't know if that's run enough for him.
Left a bit of an opportunity here.
Nice to see our good friend from Chicago, Renat Danka, in the room. He actually played in the tournament. Good catching up with him. I haven't seen him in a few years, and he was just letting me know he's dealing with a few little health issues, so maybe that had hindered him to come to the final, because he's definitely a player that can make it here. So wishing you all the best, and hopefully you can get better for next year's tournament. Renat?
Well, Amar has left Ahmed a very good chance here to build some of that lead back again. The two reds are in a position where he needs to play good shape on them. Now he's left himself in a good spot here to be able to do that.
Break them out or play for a really tough plant, as he'll be needing the rest if he decides to take
I think
that.
he can draw to the rail. If he draws back to the side rail, he tried to move them.
Willed it as much as he could.
The other option was just to draw to the side rail, and then he would have had the second red as an easy shot in the corner. By trying to break them out, if he's successful, it's a great shot.
Wow.
He's definitely going out trying to win this one.
Double trouble, that was beautiful.
Given the way he played that shot, I would suspect him almost to try this shot in the side.
I think a little youngster was amazed by that shot, so Ahmad gave him a little smile and saying, yeah, it was.
Looks like he's lining this. He's going for the win here and now.
And
It's the end.
a little emotion, he knows it there.
He has to be a little careful with that kind of show of emotion. If that was a match ball or a game ball. But at this point, he's 19 points up. And so in terms of the etiquette of the game, that may be a little premature.
What have we said about karma? Things can happen. So yeah, I agree with you there, David. It was a big yellow for sure, but you haven't sealed the deal. You'll see a lot of the pro players, they only really let out the emotion when they know the match or the frame is in the bag.
Oh my.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And he's got perfect shape on the yellow. Oh my.
these flukes happen. It's just tough when they come at such a
At
pivotal
critical
point.
times. Because 24 points. This is now his match ball.
And if Ahmad is to take this frame and match, we will keep the stream going to have the trophy presentation and all of that right at the conclusion. But obviously Amar is not wanting that to happen anytime soon.
But it's very quickly getting out of reach. He's now 26 up with 22 left. His brown is all but a guarantee.
I think there'll be a little of emotion here.
His heart's pounding. He's realized he's done it. He's 30 points up with 18 left. Amar's not coming back to the table. That fluke on the yellow will sting a little bit, but I think Amar can take a lot away from this match. He got here. He did well. He struggled. He found out some stuff about pressure, what it's like to play. But kudos to Amar for getting here and doing well. And obviously,
He's a werewolf, but we've got an American in England. Well done. Tears are coming down. A young little boy in Egypt. So much emotion. Oh, he's screaming louder than us that we can say, well done. He's screaming to the YouTube stream here.
congratulations to Ahmed Ali. He's avenged last year's loss and has made it.
He continues to write the history books in snooker in America. Last year or last spring, he was at the Crucible as the first American player there. He is now the first American ever to be on the world tour. Well done, Ahmad Ali.
Well done,
Congratulations, sir. Equal congratulations, Amar. Tough defeat over there, but
I
well
suspect
done.
we'll see Amar again.
True, he'll lick his wounds. You learn a lot from your defeats. So, David Putty, thank you very much for all your help in the booth.
Hey, this has been a fun couple of days. We'll have a little chat off camera with both of the players, but it's strong congratulations to Ahmed. He's earned it. He's played well. A few close matches along the way, I think, but those are all just make you stronger when you get here. Make you hungrier.
For sure. So we're just going to pull back the stream. That is zooming out a little bit so you can see the trophy presentation. But it's been a pleasure with you all weekend long. This is David Burney at the Corner Bake saying good night, everybody. Get home safe, and thanks for tuning in. Take care.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and supporting these players over the last 9-10 days. It's been a great success. You know, Ali's a little excited, and so he should be to represent the Pan American continent on the World Tour for 2 years. So we're going to do some presentations along with the JM, the president of PAPSA. We'd like to call up Amar Sadegh, your runner-up in the 2022 Open Championship. Thank you, Amar. A great tournament for Amar. He's one of our hometown group of players. I'm sure we'll see a lot more of him in the future. Well done, Amar. And we're always waiting for this guy. We're going to call up your 2022 Pan American Billiards and Snooker Association Open Championship, Ahmed Ali. We get the makeup crew in here first.
Oh, yeah. Tissue, please.
Yeah, you fouled the first time. It wasn't that good. And the red was just
Okay. Again, thanks everybody for having the quarterback. We hope you enjoyed it. We look forward to next year, 2023 down in Brazil. See everybody down there. And on behalf of the Jan residents of Madison, thank you.
playing next week too.
Unlock